Today on Courageous Custody, Mother's Day and custody battles, coping with loss, and finding new traditions. Hi, I am Renee Rodriguez.
And I'm Atra Tarfa. Let's dive into today's topic, Renee.
But first, a reminder, we're not giving legal advice or therapy.
And if you are feeling triggered, please take care of yourself. So, today's topic, it's a difficult one, but really we're talking about the pain of loss.
Yeah.
For many moms in high conflict custody situations, Mother's Day can bring up deep feelings of grief, rejection, powerlessness, unworthiness. And those parts that can come up, that sealed pain of this loss, may hold pain also from past experiences. So it can really be cumulative, perhaps from feeling unloved or not chosen or prioritized when you were younger. And the absence of your child on this day can reactivate those old wounds. And some of these parts have a river of shame that really run through them. Maybe thoughts of, what did I do wrong? Or did I fail my child in any way? Those can be those vulnerable parts really speaking to you. We have other parts that may want to push, distract, push away pain, distract, numb, or react negatively, such as, and when I say negative, socially acceptable negatives, like overworking or binge watching TV, maybe even so much as blaming the other parent. And some others may experience anger or resentment, leading to decisions like texting the co-parent out of frustration. Others may withdraw and not respond to messages at all, feeling maybe the urge to isolate or to disassociate from the pain. And I want to say that all of those reactions are absolutely normal. I want to normalize things that are happening in an abnormal situation. High conflict custody divorce is not something that everyone typically experiences. So when we have these parts that, urge you to numb or to fight or whatnot, please know that that's normal in these types of situations. The court's not going to tell you that, but I'm here to tell you that. You may also have parts that want to feel the need to control, maybe hyper-focus on fixing a situation, maybe all the violent emotions of seeking legal action or ruminating on custody decisions, or even attempting to micromanage the child's experience because you don't want your child to think that you don't care. So you want to make sure. And so we get hyper-focused on making sure that the kid knows I love them, that they're important to me, I'm their mom. Other protective parts may lean into perfectionism or self-blame. Like I said earlier, really believing that they must be better or I've got to work on myself more. My child deserves better. I'm here to say that you are enough. You are enough. And the fact that you are fighting for your child is enough. So how do we hold space for ourselves, for grief and for healing? How do we find self-energy during this time of trial? So instead of letting exiles or firefighters or managers take over, how can a mother bring self-energy into her own experience? Because what self-leadership does is it allows for room for grieving with compassion. Rather than suppressing that pain or reacting to that pain, we can actually be with it and take action in a loving way that's non-judgmental. Can a mother sit with her grief and witness these parts gently without judgment? Yes. Can we sit with them without making the pain go away? Yes. And how do we then do that? We can honor those parts and we can help reframe the narrative inside. Mother's Day doesn't have to be defined by loss. It can be defined by new traditions. How can one create a new tradition that nourishes our system? So if the child is absent, can she use the time to connect with other mothers, to nurture herself, to honor the fact that she gave birth, that she became a mother one day, to honor her motherhood in a different way? Absolutely. I know mothers that do this all the time. They celebrate themselves too. When you transform into motherhood, let's walk me through a new portal. That is something to be celebrated. So some of the things that can be done, even if your child is not with you, is to maybe write a letter to your child, even if it's unsent. Just get out all the love and all the things that make you really connect to your child. That bond that you have with your child is still there, no matter how much it may be obscured or clouded by the other co-parent. So writing a letter, those emotions and that connectedness down on paper and externalizing it can be a helpful way to process maybe some of that pain and holding space for those parts that are grieving. Spending time in nature can be really grounding, connecting with Mother Earth, putting your feet in the grass outside. You can also host or join a gathering from other mothers in similar situations. That connectedness energy, again, with like-minded mothers who understand what it's like to miss their child and to connect with their child. You can also engage in creative activities such as art or journaling or anything that allows for self-expression. Write a song, play music, create playlists for different emotions that you're going through. And really taking time to map out what's happening inside and speaking to the parts inside while validating those pains and offering comfort. Over time, these painful moments can become opportunities for deeper healing. You may discover that what's present and what you're dealing with now is actually something that's more deeply rooted. So as a mom, we can ask, what does my system need from me today? How can I offer my system? How can I offer myself compassion instead of criticism? And while the legal system may dictate visitation schedules, it does not define your worth as a mom. Wouldn't you say it's really great to find new traditions, Renee?
I would. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I talk about quite a bit. I love all of what you're talking about. There are a lot of moms who don't have their kiddos. There are a lot of moms who do have their kiddos. We have to think about the sabotage. We have to think about all these things. And what you're talking about really fits into that. Whenever I talk about holidays, it's a lot of the same thing again and again, but it makes such a huge difference. I'm reminding moms in this case, you don't have to celebrate on the day. There is so much sabotage that goes along with that. There is so much that becomes fraught with what's going on with the narcissistic co-parent and as the saboteur, as someone who creates those shenanigans. I know you and I at one point talked about shenana plans, right? Shenana plans for their shenanigans. But I think not celebrating on the day, if it's not there for you, or if it's just too much, or if it's just, we feel like it's that day. And if our kids wake up and they're in a bad mood, or they've been sabotaged, they've been dropped off that morning and things are a mess, and you feel like it's supposed to be my day, but here I am focusing on a dysregulated child and helping your system regulate and that type of thing. There's something that's really difficult and defeating in that, but there's actually something that's celebratory in that. So it's about flipping the perspective, perhaps. I don't know what you think of that, Audra, but just the idea that it's kind of like, well, that might be what I'm doing today, but I'm not going to let it ruin anything for me, because the celebration of Mother's Day can always be on a different day. You can use the days leading up to it to do things, whether you have them for only a little bit of the days leading up or whether it's a lot. You can make the most out of that time and start talking about Mother's Day on those days. I had a mom who did such a great job of saying, you know what, Mother's Day is coming up in a couple of weeks, but I'm feeling it today. What if we went and we did something special and did it early and just did on our own? And you can sort of circumvent that sabotage that may come up. I think it's also important to create traditions like what you're talking about. Here's the tradition of what I'm doing. I think another perspective of creating traditions, additionally to what you've just spoken of, would be that you're doing with your kiddos these things that you do every year and you're tying it into Mother's Day. Again, not necessarily on the day, but that you make May about Mother's Day, that you can think about what is the meaning of parenting for you, right? And you can read books about mothers with them. You can look at the history. What is your kiddo interested in? Are they a scientist, right? What is the science of being a mom? Do they love history and reading books about the past? How did Mother's Day come to be? Where's the importance in that doesn't necessarily have to be with that day? Why was that day chosen? Can you show that it was kind of arbitrary, but special at the same time? Maybe you guys can pick something arbitrary and special for you too, right? And watch movies about moms. I love if there's a lot of May's about reading stories about elephant moms and turtle moms. A lot of these books talk about moms and it's the mother duck and all the babies following behind her and just remind them the importance of the mom. And so I think we talk about Mother's Day, there's a sadness. I think the joy of any holiday is about the meaning of the holiday, not the actual day. Well, that's pretty much it for this week's episode of Courageous Custody. We have some great takeaways for this week. The pain of loss, we've got the exiled parts, you've got your firefighters. You want to find yourself energy. Remember to hold space for grief and healing. Remember to create some new traditions, both for yourself, with yourself, and with your kiddos, and to find ways to, leading up to Mother's Day, make May the month about being a mom.
Yes. And next week, join us again, 7 p.m. Eastern here. Like or follow us or bookmark us so that you can get the notifications, because what we're talking about might catch you right when you need it.
And leave your own comments below. And until next week, stay strong, stay informed, and keep fighting for what matters most. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.